Long before David became the famous king of Israel, his story began quietly in the small town of Bethlehem. David was born into the family of Jesse, a humble farmer from the tribe of Judah. Jesse had 8 sons, and David was the youngest of them all. His older brothers were strong, experienced men who worked hard and were known in their community. But David, being the youngest, often stayed behind while his brothers went out to fight battles or tend the larger flocks. From his earliest days, David had a heart full of music and faith. He loved to sing songs to God as he watched over his father's sheep on the hills of Bethlehem. When the sun set and the stars filled the sky, David would take out his harp and play beautiful melodies, lifting his voice in worship to the Lord. Even in his youth, David understood that God was real and close to him. He saw God's power in the beauty of nature and felt his protection whenever danger came near. David was not only a musician, he was also brave and skilled. As a shepherd, he had to protect his sheep from wild animals that came to attack. One night, a lion grabbed one of the lambs from the flock. David ran after it, struck it, and rescued the lamb from its mouth. Another time, a bear came out of the woods to steal a sheep, and David fought it off with his bare hands. Through these experiences, David learned courage, faith, and dependence on God. While David was living his simple life in the fields, Israel was being ruled by King Saul. Saul had been chosen by God, but over time, his heart grew proud and disobedient. God sent the prophet Samuel to tell Saul that his kingdom would not last because he had turned away from the Lord's command. God had decided to raise up another king, a man after his own heart, someone who would follow him faithfully. One day, God spoke to Samuel and told him to go to Bethlehem, to the house of Jesse, because one of Jesse's sons would be the next king. Samuel was afraid, because Saul was still the king, but he obeyed God's voice. When Samuel arrived at Jesse's house, Jesse proudly brought his sons before the prophet. The first son, Eliab, was tall and strong, and Samuel thought, surely this must be the one God has chosen. But the Lord said to Samuel, do not look at his appearance or height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not see as man sees. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. One by one, Jesse brought 7 of his sons before Samuel, but God did not choose any of them. Finally, Samuel asked, are these all your sons? Jesse said, there remains the youngest, but he is out tending the sheep. Samuel said, send for him, for we will not sit down until he comes. When David entered, he was young, with bright eyes and a heart full of humility. God spoke to Samuel's heart and said, rise and anoint him, for this is the one. Samuel poured the anointing oil on David's head, and from that day forward, the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him. Even though David had been chosen by God, he did not immediately become king.